Hello everybody, welcome to the Comic Game Movie Show. My name is Deshaun and today I'm here to review James Gunn, The Suicide Squad. Now, all confessions. I'm going to watch this movie again. I'm recording this on Saturday, the 7th of the 8th, is it? I think it's the 8th. I believe it's the 8th. Give me a second. I want to make sure I'm right about this. 7th. Okay, I was right the first time. 7th. And admittedly, I was impatient because all the hype around it. I mean, this movie is already one of the highest rated movies on Rotten Tomatoes. It's got a 93 last time I checked. It's either up to a 94 or it's down to a 92, but it's probably not leaving the 90s. So this movie is considered, is at this current moment the highest rated DCEU movie. And I will admit, minor spoilers for my review, I do think it may be the best DCEU movie. Granted, I haven't been that high on the DCEU, but I do think this may be the best. Maybe. But this movie is so hyped up, and like I'm gonna see it with Seth later today, but I really just wanted to see it ahead of time. I just wanted to see it because I was so curious about it, and I was just like, I'm gonna watch it, and then I watch it twice to see how I feel about it. Nowadays I usually watch movies twice. Like if I'm really interested in a movie, I watch it twice. Sometimes I'll go watch it by myself, then watch it with Seth, or I'll watch it with another friend and then watch it again. Like I like watching movies twice now. Like if I'm really into it, I like watching movies. Like if I'm really, really into it, like if I don't know if my emotions are a bit conflicting, I'm like, okay, this is how I feel about it. And the same thing I'm gonna do with Suicide Squad. So just to let you guys know, I will be seeing it again after I do this review. So my feelings might actually be different next time I see it. Next time when I see it with Seth, the next time I go see it. But as of right now, this, generally speaking, non-spoiler right here, it's a damn good movie. It's a good movie. It's a really, really, really good movie. It's a very good movie. I had a fun time watching it. I had a really fun time watching it. Like, James Gunn's dialogue, the way he directed the action was fantastic. A lot of the dialogue was fun. The character interactions were fun. Harley Quinn was fun. Idris Elba as Bloodsport was a badass. John Cena was funny and a badass. A lot of the characters were fun. There was some heart in the movie as well. Very bloody, extremely bloody, extremely over the top. I mean, it is nasty. It gets gory, King Shark eating people, and it gets pretty bad. Like, it gets pretty fucking bad, like, in this movie. There's sequences with, there's an action sequence with Harley that was really badass. I think that was the best action sequence in the movie. I think it's on par, for me personally, the humor and whatnot, it's on par with Guardians 2. I don't think this movie's as good as the first Guardians of the Galaxy, but I do think it's on par with Guardians of the Galaxy 2. I think it might be a slight bit better than Guardians of the Galaxy 2. And like I said, in terms of the action though, the action was cool when it hit. I liked pretty much all the characters. I enjoyed everyone. Viola Davis back as Amanda Waller was always a great, was great to see her back, She was a little more volatile this time around, but it was great to see her back, Idris Elba taking the lead as Bloodsport. It was a fun character, though. Though there are certain things that just kind of make me laugh about that character. In particular, that essentially they just replaced a veteran, former Marine, a former soldier, renowned for his training and sharpshooting abilities, with another black sharpshooting soldier renowned for his black former accomplished soldier renowned for his sharpshooting ability, who has a child as well. And it was just like, you guys just replaced Will Smith. You guys just literally replaced Deadshot with another Deadshot. Like, even his arc is just Deadshots. So, it did kind of describe, because I know that shit. You know what I mean? Like, when you know shit, when you know, you know. And it was just like, you guys just replaced a black guy with another black Deadshot, with another black guy who has the exact same thing going on. Like, the exact same thing. I was just like, you might as well have just got Will Smith. I don't know why you wouldn't got Idris Elba. Because when they originally cast Idris Elba, many, like myself, thought, oh, he must be playing Bronze Tiger. Bronze Tiger's more of a martial artist, you know, he's more of like a hand-to-hand combat dude, an honorable man with martial arts skills who, you know, he kills people, but, you know, it's different, you know, it's complicated. And like, we all assumed he'd be Bronze Tiger because we're like, oh, well, they're gonna mix up. And Bronze Tiger has also been a leader of the Suicide Squad. It's really only been like a couple leaders of the Suicide Squad. It's usually Flag, Deadshot, maybe Deathstroke he's there, Harley, and Bronze Tiger. There've been many different different versions of the Suicide Squad, but Bronze Tiger, like we assumed. But then when he was Bloodsport, it was like, now don't get me wrong, he's not Deadshot because he does things differently. Deadshot has more guns, there's more guns, while Bloodsport is more like he's got all these weird gadgets and he's got slingshots and darts and you know he's got all this. He's got a flamethrower. He's got a gun that just gets bigger and bigger, and he's got extensions on that motherfucker. Like he's not Deadshot. But the actual character himself, his origin, his like the way they presented him, the way they do it, it's exactly like Deadshot. And honestly, they probably could have just had Deadshot and gotten the same result. And it actually would have made more sense because Harley and Deadshot been because Harley and Deadshot not only have been a thing in the comics, but they were in that other movie, and you could, you know, they kind of play loose about how much this is a sequel to the original Suicide Squad. There's nothing to contradict the original Suicide Squad. There's nothing in this movie at all. Like, sometimes I complain about certain things in DC contradicting one another. There's nothing in this to contradict that this didn't happen after the original. How long after? Who knows? But there's absolutely nothing in it to contradict the events of the original Suicide Squad. You know, they don't bring them up, but there's nothing that like is in direct contradiction with it. So it could just perfectly be this is stuff that happened afterwards, years after the original Suicide Squad. Also, while that Harley Quinn sequence was awesome, I thought it was really fucking cool. They're like, in the entire time Harley has been in the DC universe, she's never shown the capability of doing something like that before. Now, I kind of took it with I took that with a grain of salt. You know, I noticed it. I took it with a grain of salt. I didn't really hold it against it because this is sort of a reboot. It's sort of a soft reboot. So in a way, this could be someone's first time seeing this version of Harley Quinn. So, you know, at that point, you could just put the scale of how good she is, how skilled she is, at whatever level you want it to be at. So, you know, whatever. You know what? Sure, she hasn't shown that capability before, but it is what it is. Some of the jokes are lame. Some of the jokes are great. Some of the jokes are fucking hilarious. Some of the jokes are have me pause, laugh, and go, that was fucking ridiculous. I can't believe you just did that. And some of the jokes are just like, why? In particular, there was an entire scene that was so unnecessary to the entire movie. It revolved around Harley Quinn and like this El Presidente dude. And it was just like, why is this even here? Like, don't get me wrong. Was it entertaining to watch? Sure, it was sort of entertaining. It was kind of entertaining to watch. But in the back of my mind, when the scene ended, I was like, why did we even do this? Because I thought what's happening was, oh, we're setting up that, oh, there's feelings there. Homeboy might do something later on that made this important. But that doesn't happen. What happens when something, I'm not going to spoil it for you, but when something happens, it's just kind of like, okay, then what the fuck was the point of this? Why did we do this? And there are a couple sequences like that in the movie that kind of just make me go, well, what the fuck was the point of this? Yeah, like, okay, like, sure. But overall, I had a fun time. Enjoyed myself. The movie did not take itself too seriously. It took out some of its own piss. Some of John Cena's lines are just hilarious. I love the back and forth between Peacemaker and Bloodsport. I thought the heart of the movie was definitely Ratcatcher. She was great. While King Shark was annoying a little bit for me, eventually I just got used to him. Polka Dot Man is odd as hell, but intriguing, ironically. But it wasn't annoying. He was just intriguing, There are some deaths in this movie that There's only one death that was like sort of surprising. A couple deaths that were like surprising weren't that surprising to me. That was just like, well, yeah, I'm kind of figured that. You know, I'll spoil one for you, just one. Captain Boomerang, he dies, which I saw coming because I watched the trailers, and he was on, and in every single trailer that came out, he was only ever on the plane sequence. You never saw him interacting with like other people. You never saw him interacting with other people. So I was like, oh, he must be dead then. Like in my mind, I was like, oh, he's totally dead because you don't see him interacting with anyone else. So like, why would you not see Captain Boomerang interacting with anyone else unless he was fucking dead? And go figure, he was fucking dead. But yeah, like there's a couple things like that. But there's one death that I didn't like. When it happened, I was like, oh, okay, all right, I'm going for that. They did that. Oh, okay, sure, all right. Kind of, like looking back, I should have saw it coming, but I was like, okay, all right, damn, all right. The villain, you probably could guess if you've ever seen the trailer, but I'm not going to spoil it for you. It is, it's a classic. Let's just put it that way. I would give James Gunn The Suicide Squad an 8.5. I'd give it an 8.5. It's an 8 to an 8.5. I think it's a really good movie. I think it's a really fun movie. It's probably a movie. I think it's a movie that needs to be seen in the theater. I think it's a movie that would be really fun to see at the theaters. I saw it just sitting on the couch, and I was like, this is fun. This is really fun. I'm having a good time. I'm not bored. I'm going with you guys. So sometimes there are logical things. Maybe not logical, but there are some things that I'm just like, Particularly it hurts inside sometimes when I think about the fact that of how this should have been done. Like, you know how this should have been done? This should have been they should have been in other superhero movies and then been made into the Suicide Squad. Like, we were supposed to have already seen, like, we should have seen Harley Quinn interacting with Batman in Batman's trilogy, and then her transition to the Suicide Squad with the knowledge that we know. Because you see Harley, when I see Harley have that awesome sequence, I'm just like, man, I wonder how she would fare against Batman. Like, in the back of my mind, I'm thinking that. I'm just like, I wonder how that fare against Batman. Like, I wonder how the Flash took down King Shark. We kind of actually got to see the Flash take down Boomerang at least. But like in the back of my mind, and I thought that's the one sequence in the original Suicide Squad that I dug, was seeing Batman go around and seeing Batman take down Deadshot and shit. Because I'm just like, this makes sense. I like this. I wish that we had that. And it's just kind of disconnected. And all the things I'm hearing is everything not involving seeing these characters interact with the actual fucking characters they are villains for. I don't know who though they're weird enough. I don't know who Bloodsport's a villain for. Polka Dot Man's a Batman villain. Which means Batman would have brought him down. That's the one part I liked about the original David Ayer's Suicide Squad, was that they were obsessed with Batman. That they were like, fuck Batman. Then they brought it up like, fuck Batman. He put me here. And I'm because I like that. Because it's like, yeah, they're villains. They have a hero that they're usually in conflict with. So they have this movie not really acknowledge that. Like they acknowledge Superman for a mini second, but the movie's so disconnected from any actual DC, like bigger DC thing, that it did kind of because the Suicide Squad are like a spin-off of other things. They're a group of villains, but all these villains come from other places. So to not have the other places talked about does take away a bit of the sting out of the Suicide Squad. Knowing that, not seeing Harley interact with a Batman or a Joker or anything like that, and just be in this without even the acknowledgement of these other characters, or seeing King Shark without them acknowledging how he got there from the Flash, it does, as a comic book fan, it distracted me. But as a fan of movies, as a fan of film, this was a fun movie. This was a really fun movie. It had some funny parts in it. It had some great action in it. I think all the characters are fun. Most of the characters work perfectly. Some less than others, but most of them work perfectly. They all serve their purpose. They all are hitting all cylinders. John Cena's fun. Idris Elba's fun. Margot Robbie might be Margot Robbie's best turn as Harley Quinn. I give James Gunn The Suicide Squad an 8.5. Thank you guys for joining the Comic Game Movie Show. Please remember to like, subscribe, and I will see you on the next one. Goodbye.